again, welcome back and welcome again. So, in this session, we will be talking little bit more about Palo Alto, and today officially we will be starting like what exactly Palo Alto firewall is, and how the packet flow in fact will be in this one, and what we will be covering in this course. One more time of recap I'll be doing. I have already mentioned in the previous session like what will be the content to be delivered here. But again, I think we will be okay if we can do it one more time. So just a quick introduction, maybe to all of you, if you don't mind, just your name, background. Are you doing any job or what? Much appreciated.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Praveen Sharma. Currently, I am working in Orange Business Service as a network engineer.
Okay, Praveen. Thank you so much. Welcome here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, next one.
Yeah, hi sir, Baldeep here. Uh, Hello. So
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
I know. Yeah.
I'm also actually also working in Wipro technology as a firewall engineer, where I have some previous class also I have told that I have little bit basic knowledge on the Palo Alto and NetScreen Juniper SRX. I mostly work on firewall technology right now. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
I have 2 years of experience on in industry. I graduated in 2021.
Okay, great. Thank you. Next one.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, my name is Santosh, and currently I'm working in Accenture as a L2 engineer,
Okay,
network support.
good. Okay, great, Santosh. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, next
Hello,
one.
myself Dipesh Kadam. I am
Okay.
working in a Hitachi company as a network security engineer.
Wow, good one. Great. I think I have to call out your names. Okay. Baldeep is done, Dipesh is done, and I have one more. Can't spell this name. This name is?
Praveen.
No. Somebody's name is starting with E, letter E for echo. Who is this?
Yeah, ma'am. Sorry, just now joined the class. Myself, Vilavarasan. I'm working as a NOC engineer in StarTech in Bangalore.
Okay. So your name is Ilavarsan.
Yeah, Ilavarasan.
Ilavarsan. My God. Do you have any nickname?
You can call Ila, ma'am, simply.
Mm-hmm. How about Varsan?
It's a Tamil name. It's the meaning of
Mhm.
prince.
Okay. So for me, I think Varsan is good. If
Okay,
you are okay with this.
no issues, ma'am. That's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kuldeep Yadav. Kuldeep, am I audible to you? Then Mahendra, yes, he is also from the previous class, I know. And Rajesh. Then we have Sitaram.
Hello,
Yes, go
hello,
ahead,
ma'am.
please. Yes,
Yeah, I am
Rama.
Rama. Yeah, just 3 month back itself I joined on company 22/7. Right now I am as a training engineer only, information security. So there may be next coming 2 to 3 months that there will be a new project. Coming into our company. So that's the reason I am eager to learn that Palo Alto firewall.
Okay. Thank you. Why not? Yeah, you should always be keep learning actually. IT and especially in security department, every single day you should keep you yourself updated. It's a good decision. Good. Okay. Then anyone else who is left? Sachin? Sachin's audio, in fact, I think it is not connected at all.
Ma'am, myself is Sitaram. I'm working in Apollo Hospital as a network and security engineer.
Okay, okay. So most of you already are working, right? So, okay. So that is all, I guess. So that was a good introduction. And believe me, I'm really happy when I see this kind of intro in the beginning of any session. So it is like a very good, great opportunity. I do see myself also growing with the time. Like, look at the audience to whom I will be addressing. So thank you very much. And my name is Shagun, basically. And I am dealing with these Palo Alto firewall courses with networking since last couple of months. So my main area here, and by profession also, I am the Palo Alto, trainer. So basically, this is my strength, basically, coming about Palo Alto cybersecurity modules and all. And beautiful thing about Palo Alto Firewall is, even if it is your first appliance to read about, to study on, or to practice on for security, so you will not be actually disappointed. So this is very powerful yet very simple to understand, some sort of firewall. So basically, what will happen when we talk about Palo Alto? Okay, I start with this line only. So we have something called TCP/IP and VPN technology. Especially in VPN, we do have site-to-site, remote site, that is IPsec and SSL and other VPNs also. So these are the things that I would say that is the building block behind the Palo Alto firewall. Okay, so when you are talking about Palo Alto firewall, make sure you do have very, very good basics on TCP, IP, and VPN, right? So I'm not saying this is the prerequisite. There is no prerequisite in my course at all. As I already mentioned, even any non-computer science person is more than welcome in this course, because this might be the very first course for anyone in the world. No problem, whether you are techie or you're from the non-computer science background also. But here we just need to be very, very careful. You should be happy to learn about these two factors that I have mentioned when we talk about this TCP/IP. Okay, and one side there is a TCP/IP, on the other side I have Palo Alto. How they both are connected to each other, basically. See, Palo Alto here, you will be, after this course, maybe you will be working on floor as the tech engineer, you will be working as the manager to few projects and all. No matter whatever you are working at, and at end of the day, you will be handling, if you are on the floor, if you are working as a network engineer for them, or if you are working as network admin also, you are the security architect, still you will be dealing with some very important terminology that is called your log analysis. Okay, and your another one, I would say, log analysis, and something that in common language we say it troubleshooting. So troubleshooting is totally dependent on your basic on this TCP/IP and VPN. So for example, let's say just a basic question, your customer is saying, you are handling a case, your customer is saying, I'm not able to log in into my firewall. How you would troubleshoot it? So you should know with the time, when you will learn any product, any security appliances, you are not going to learn how it is working, how to configure those policies, those rules. You are also learning how to do those log analysis also, and how every log analysis is actually lying under the umbrella of your TCP/IP. So believe me, in the whole world till date, there is no vendor, there is no firewall that is beyond the technicalities of TCP/IP. So if you are generating any traffic, what kind of traffic you can generate? You can generate HTTP traffic. You can generate, let's say, HTTP is there, HTTPS is there. So you might generate FTP, you might generate DNS, you might generate DHCP. So anything, telnet. So at end of the day, any problem that you will be troubleshooting, that will be one of these. And this is your layer 7 services of OSI. So that is the reason I'm saying you should be very good on those layering architecture, TCP IP, what exactly they are doing. So now the difference between how people see on layer architecture and then how they correlate these things with the troubleshooting is, so we should understand one more thing. Every single thing in TCP IP, so they are already programmed. For example, the way TCP protocol does work, IP will be working in a different way. The way DNS is working, so the DHCP is also working in some different way. So let's say I'm just going to mark, let's say this is my DNS, okay, arrow is DNS, this is DHCP, this is TCP, and this is your IP. Okay, so you do have different traffic now. Every traffic will be depending upon the header, what exactly the header is saying. For example, you do have TCP header, you do have IP header, you do have DNS header, DHCP header. Everything, whatever you are troubleshooting, that is traveling on the wire. So do you know about Wireshark? Because most of you are working, I'm sure you must have heard the term called Wireshark. You know about this? This is a
Yes.
tool.
Wicket capture.
Yeah, so this is actually a network, a sniffing tool, you can say. So this tool, it can capture whatever you are sending on the wire right now, anytime. So for example, whatever the data is traveling through my network outside. So if anyone wants to do the Wireshark, or if I want myself also, I can actually capture those packets. So that is in those packet, when you will be capturing those Wireshark packets, you will see it will capture the everything, the whole traffic in form of some headers only. For example, TCP. If there is any data that is traveling on HTTP side, that means you are trying to open any website. So there will be some sort of TCP traffic coming along the way. So if you are saying DNS resolve is happening, so that means there is something related to UDP is happening. So that is just the the, I would say, our pre prep, I would say. So that is the preparation for ourselves, getting ready for the Palo Alto. It is not like if you don't know, you will not be okay with Palo Alto and all. So no, that is the reason I have just placed these two things separately. Learning about these basics, that is a different journey for all of you. Learning on a Palo Alto, this is a different journey, but you have to take both of them parallelly if you really want to learn the technology. So this is exactly, every header should be on your tips. You should know what are the flags of IP. You should know what are the flags of TCP. How does TCP checksum is different than UDP checksum? These are the very, very basic fundamental things that we will be also covering in this training. Actually, this is the something that new I want to put in here, because most of my pre post trainee engineers, I usually have a very good discussion with all of them. So they suggested me to involve these all things in my coming training. So that is the reason I just want to include these all headers also. So this time I will be working on this part very sincerely. That is also one of my favorite thing that I will be working on Palo. So that is the overall idea. Just I want to be generalized. I want to give you some insight on these things. So how to work on this one? This will be a little different. This will be a little different approach. But yes, talking about your Palo Alto stuff now. So in this course, number one, you will be learning about what is a firewall. So this firewall technology we will be talking about, firewalls, whatever we have in the market now. Second thing is types of a firewall, I want to say. So for example, you have um, how many types of firewall anyone knows? Can anyone name them? For example, you have a packet-based firewall. Okay, you do have a UTM. You do have a zone-based firewall. So, so these all are the behavior of the firewall, how they work, how they filter the traffic. Other than that, you can talk about the connections. Okay, how they maintain the connections. So either anything can be stateless. Stateless means your firewall, or it might be a router. Router can also be behaving like your firewall also. So that is your stateless versus stateful device, how they will behave. Okay, stateful, sorry. So these are the basic fundamental things. Now we will be jumping towards some technical deeper details. We will be talking about your packet flow of Palo Alto. Okay, then we will be definitely talking about your types of interfaces that we do have on Palo Alto. There is a concept of management plane and data plane. We will also be talking about that. So, and then you will talk about something related to what do we mean by commit. So we will be talking about commit process, and then we will be talking about your configuration management. Okay, and after that, configuration management, these are the, again, I would say, elementary thing on the firewall. So how the firewall GUI, I would say here, we will also be talking about the GUI walkthrough. Okay, how introduction to GUI. For example, there are 7 tabs of Palo Alto. Getting deeper down into each tab, what will be the role of individual tab here, and then somehow your high availability is one of the topic. High availability means you are not relying on the single firewall. So what will happen if your full LAN is depending upon one firewall and one day this firewall is crashed? So what you will do? You're going to lose so many packets, you are going to lose data. So in order to avoid this single point of failure, you want to have one more firewall as the backup. So backup thing, in a fancy term in firewalls terminology, it is not only in Palo Alto, Cisco, Fortinet, other vendors, they also call this topic as high availability only. That is how to take the backup. I mean, 2 firewalls. There is not single firewall, there is one more firewall in case of any emergency. Then we do have a VPN. We will talk about your IPsec here, and then we will see how there is something called admin roles and external server authentication. Okay. So admin role means who will be the user of the firewall, who can configure the firewall, who can make the policies, how to make those policies. So before understanding the policy, you should know who can log in into firewall. So that is related to the login things. So anyone who is interested to log in into the firewall, either they are the user that locally created on the firewall, or these are the users who are actually present on some active directory that is again linking towards your firewall. So your authentication is happening through external server that is maybe active directory. So that is the topic here. In if you want to understand in that way, then we will be talking about your URL filtering. Okay, and also app ID, and then also SSL decryption. These are the main things that definitely we will be covering. I'm sorry. And then other than this, we will be talking about your software upgradation process. Okay, it is called upgradation part, and also licensing. So licensing will be coming here. Okay, so one thing I just want to be very clear over here. Due to some restrictions over the lab, there might be some challenges over the software upgradation path. So, but we will cover how to actually do the software upgradation. We will cover. So it might be possible software license and upgradation process. There might be an absence of the lab demo, but still I will try my best. Other things, theory, demo, everything will be okay. So far I've been doing this, but only this part is the worry point. So you can expect there might be a lack of lab here because of certain kind of previous issues from Palo Alto. So that is the only worry thing. Otherwise, nothing else to worry. And there is one more topic that is called your user ID. So this is what these are the main topics. of this course. We will definitely be going through it, and you will be working every single lab. That means minimum 15 labs. If I exclude this one, if I'm talking about 16 topics here, so you can say there will be 15 types of lab will be definitely here. And apart from that, I always give some tasks to my batches if they are happy to do that. It is based upon some recent cases that I come across, whatever is the live cases are going on, and that would depend extra things if we want to do. So that will depend upon the flow also. So now that is the content. You can take a click of this. You can take some sort of any record. You can take the screenshot if you want. Okay. So now this Palo Alto firewall, basically, first question is what exactly is a firewall? Okay, and who can be firewall? So firewall basically it is it can be a hardware based device or a software maybe. So that means you are using a firewall that you do have only IP with you. So you can just browse that IP on the Google Chrome, and then you are good to go with the login process. So that is called a software-based firewall. In lab also, we will be using VMware's firewall. That means we do not have hardware-based firewall, but exactly software and hardware firewalls, capability-wise, they are exactly the same thing. So there is nothing to worry about these all things. So a firewall, it is basically a device. It can be hardware or software. Its job is to filter the traffic, basically filter the traffic based upon whatever it will be depending upon whatever the filterization you as the network admin will be imposing on it. That means it is totally depending on your policies. Okay. I think I missed this topic in the previous window. Policies is also one of them. So what is a policy? How many types of policies are there? Definitely we will be talking about, for example, security policy, NAT policy, authentication policy, decryption policies. So these all theory plus lab you can expect here. So policies are the rules basically. So for example, let's say I can draw some sort of topology here. Here is my firewall, and this colored globe, it is called my internet thing. Okay, this is anything over the internet, and this is my organization. Okay, so you can say up to here, this is my organization up to here. So number one, firewall, it can be used when you are sitting at home. So you can have, in fact, every Windows operating system, they come up with the Defender as the firewall. That is inbuilt firewall of operating system. So here we are not going to talk about that firewall. We are going to talk firewall at a bigger picture. So the Palo Alto firewall, basically, they are coming in the huge capacity and the throughput point of view, whatever the other firewalls are right now they are in the market. So this firewall, when we talk about these firewalls and all, so you can imagine there is an organization where you will be working for that organization. You might be working as the network admin, you might be working as the tag engineer again or support engineer again there. So these firewalls are for the organization oriented firewalls, the one we are going to study here. So here, whenever I will be taking any example, so this is what the visionary scene that you can imagine. Here we do have our LAN. LAN means it is not one box. That does not mean only one LAN we will be talking about. You can say LAN means multiple LAN also you have, until and unless your traffic is not going out of your perimetry. So that will be called as LAN. So that is your LAN side. This is my firewall, and this is the firewall also that is connecting my whole LAN with the internet. So this is how we have to understand in this way. Okay. Any question? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now, so firewall is also basically just like other layer 3 devices, router, layer 3 switches and all. So we will be configuring them. When we talk about configuration, we are again talking about some sort of interfaces only, right? So here will be some interfaces that we will be connecting and we will be configuring them. Let's say here my interface are, I'm just going to talk like this. I want to configure this side of LAN. You can imagine there is a switch. Okay, this is a switch. Here's this side of my LAN. I'm going to connect it with Ethernet 1/3, or let's say Ethernet 1/2. That is a typical fashion of our lab also. So Ethernet 1/2 is the gateway of my LAN. This interface, you can say this is my Ethernet 1/1, that is ISP facing interface. Rest of those interfaces, Ethernet 1/3, 4, 5, whatever they are, it will be, let's say, some of them you are connecting with the server. Here you are connecting with it's a server, right? AD server. There might be one IPsec tunnel you are going to create, or maybe these two interfaces you want to reserve for your high availability settings, because whenever you will be doing the high availability lab, at least you need two interfaces for that. Now here there are a bunch of questions. How many interfaces I can have on a firewall, and who decide that how many interfaces will be there on that firewall? So basically, just like our mobile phones, we do have models and series of a phone, right? For example, I say in iPhone there is an iPhone 14 Pro Max. These are the model that we are talking about. So similarly, in firewalls, we do have models and series. So the very first firewall of Palo Alto that came into market, that was a PA200. Let me just write down the name in the text format. It is called PA200. Okay. PA200 means whenever there is a naming convention behind the firewall name also. If any firewall is named as PA hyphen then 200, means this is the very first firewall the Palo Alto firewall people they began with. So now PA means Palo Alto, 200, that is the series. Okay. But if your firewall's name is PA VM 50, this is not hardware based firewall. Now this is your VM based firewall, that is a software firewall. So you should understand this is a typical naming structure. So one thing is very clear. Okay. But the behave that a hardware firewall would do and a software firewall, so until and unless their capacity. Now what do we mean by capacity? So each firewall, it can be said good or bad, just like, especially boys, when they go to buy any bike or car, they will compare with other products also, other bikes, other cars also. Similarly, if you want to compare which firewall is good or bad, you have to do the comparison. So if I have to compare, let's say PA VM 50 and PA VM 100. Okay, I'm just going to say 100 only. So this is belonging to the same concept. Both are the hardware based, software based firewall, VMware based firewall. So here we have some parameters that will decide, okay, that will help you to select which firewall exactly you want to buy. So number one parameter is number of CPUs. So number of CPUs. Okay. Another one is number of sessions. Okay. Number three, number of rules that it can have. And number of, last one, this is what I prefer. So this number of tunnels. Okay. So that means IPsec tunnels they are talking about here. So these are the four, I would say, the strongest feature of any firewall. Apart from that, there are others also, other factors. For example, threat hunting, threat handling throughput, app ID throughput. So these are the throughput values you can also say. And also one of them is connections per second capacity also. But I don't think so these will make any difference. According to me, once we are into the Palo Alto site, here number one terminology totally changed, because even if it is your first firewall of your life, so make sure you will come across new terminology. So terminology will play a very important role here. So connection per second, that is also, it can be a parameter. So I do not feel this is one of the strongest one, but these four are like This is one of the really important factor for any firewall. Number of CPU means, as I know, every Palo Alto firewall, I said this, every single firewall, it is logically divided into two parts. Okay. So now let's say if I say today my day was actually divided into two parts. First half was very good, and the later part I was totally exhausted. So that does not mean I broke the whole day into two parts, right? It is a concept only that I'm telling you and I want to convey you. Same thing, your firewall, it is not if you will break it or if you will open it. It is not like you are going to see two different parts here. No, nothing like that. Your firewall is logically divided into two different parts. One of them is called management. The higher part is called management. Another one is called data plane. So this management plane and data plane, these are basically only the concept with respect to your operating system only. So that means when any kind of traffic is approaching towards your firewall, so it will be decided first of all whether it is going to management plane or data plane. So if most of the time the traffic is actually for data plane only, so whatever the Ethernet interfaces that I have actually drawn over here, every single interface is basically the part of your data plane only. So data plane, it is the actual traffic that you are talking about. That means your LAN connection, your Active Directory, your any high availability connection, your internet connection, every single connection that is actually generating some data. That is the traffic that you want to filter. That is the data plane. That from a portion of the operating system, it is called a data plane. What about your management plane? This management plane, it is all about your operating system, your functionality, how to make a good, what are the various licenses available in the market so that your firewall can be effectively working at its peak. So what are the licenses on the operating system? So these kind of factors, that is also kind of traffic only, but that will be handled by a management plane. So these two different layers are there so that your firewall can be working independently. In case it should be very clear, whatever the traffic, even your management plane is full of the traffic, so it will never ever affect your data plane. So data plane will be working on their own, so there will be no clashes at all. That is the reason they have divided into two different layers. So one is management plane, another one is called your data plane. So now these are the factors. When we talk about your CPUs, we talk about what now how fast they both will be working. It will be depending upon what is the CPU capacity they are having, right? So if there will be an individual CPU that is dedicated to individually, so they will be working really fast. At the end of the day, how the any digital device would process, that is totally dependent on how well good the processor is behind it, right? So in PA200 series, there is only one CPU, right? So you can say in my PA200 series firewall, there is one CPU. I can just draw like this. There is one CPU here, okay? So just one CPU is here. So it is called a dual core CPU. So core number 0 and core number 1, or maybe I can say core number 1 and core number 2. So its first core is dedicated to management plane, another core is dedicated to data plane. Same thing here will happen. CPU under PAVM50 series. Let's say if there is only one CPU, so that means the cores will be divided if CPU is 1. So in PAVM100, if there are two CPUs, that means it is much more powerful than VM50. Similarly, number of sessions. Let's say this firewall, it is only supporting up to 50K sessions. What is the session? I give you that example also. Whereas in case of PAVM 100 series, you can go for 2,56,000. 2,56,000 sessions. Okay. Then rules are the policies that I was talking about. Security policy, NAT policy, authentication policies, everything. If you will be collecting them together, how many you can do? For example, in this PA200 series firewall, you can only create 250 rules only. So let's say in VM50, you can have only 250 rules, right? So maybe in I'm not giving you the exact counters, so do not get confused with okay, why 250 and this. I'm just giving you those examples only, so do not get confused. Later on, these numbers will be changed whenever you will be getting into the technicalities. Right now, I'm just giving you some hints. So in PAVM 100 right now, let's say you are going to have 2000 rules, right? So again, that is a win-win game here. So IPsec tunnel, if you can have, let's say only 25 tunnels here, but here you can have 250 tunnels. Okay. So this is the criteria basically. You are deciding which firewall is actually the best. Now, this session, this is one of the most important terminology in Palo Alto firewall, because every single day you will be dealing with nothing but sessions only. On CLI, you will be browsing how many sessions I have. If you will be troubleshooting every single thing, whatever the problem is, your first command is to run the command to take the session table of your firewall, because you want to check which traffic is actually being handled by your firewall. So now something is called packet. If this, let's say this is this guy from LAN, it is trying to open www.paloaltonetworks.com. So it is generating one internet traffic. Now this traffic is hitting at the Ethernet 1/2 because that is the gateway for whole network. So now what will happen? Right now, before entering into the firewall, this is a packet only. This is just a packet. Once your firewall will be happy to handle it, firewall has taken the decision like, okay, I will be fine. There is a rule policy that I can actually apply on this traffic. So this packet, you can imagine now it is inside the firewall. But now being inside the firewall, it is a legitimate traffic. This is a good traffic that your firewall has allowed it. So this now it will be called as session. Okay. So session means this is a good traffic, but any packet is not, always a session, but every session it is a packet. So that means a good packet is a session. A raw random packet can be or cannot be a session. So that is the difference that you have to understand. So any packet will be creating one session if it is matching with certain kind of policies. Okay, so your firewall is saying, okay, fine, this is a very good traffic. This is as per my rules, regulations is working. So I'll be allowing it. So who is allowing you? Because you basically the network admin. So these policies, whatever policies are there, it is not your firewall is creating those policies. These policies are created by some of the network admin only. That means a network user only. So that, but these policies, according to those policies, this random traffic is being classified as a good traffic. So that is why it will be called as a session. Now let's say there are some other traffic is also coming. Every data plane interfaces, they are bombarding with those network packets. Now let's say most of them, they are turning into the session only. Okay. So let's say too many packets are coming inside the firewall, and some of getting dropped also. Okay, it's not every packet is getting inside the firewall. Some of them are, they are getting dropped, rejected, denied also. So now problem here, up to what capacity this firewall will be handling this session. So as PAVM 150 is there, if this is PAVM 50 firewall, so the moment this firewall will be approaching, total number of sessions will be reaching towards 50K. This firewall's 50,000 first packet is going to be automatically dropped, because now your firewall is full of those sessions. So what will happen to other firewalls and why? So I mean, is it a good news or bad news? What? So the idea is, even if you want to say, let's take one example. If I'm typing this https ://www.google.com. Okay, if you are typing in this one in your browser from any of the LAN user, this single line can create how many types of traffic? I want to hear the answer from all of you. What do you think? What kind of traffic this single line is generating?
First DNS.
HTTP.
Yes, exactly. All are correct. First is DNS. Yes. Number one is DNS.
Can you repeat your question once more, please?
Yeah, my question is, if we are trying to open any website, let's say from the LAN user from here, any LAN user, they are trying to open the website google.com. So how many type of traffic it will be generating? In fact, all of you, I would say, keep your devices ready with Wireshark all the time. You can, if you are not sure, like maybe practically you are not able to correlate, okay, where is the traffic and all these things. So keep handy your Wireshark as the tool. You can generate some traffic, capture those packets. You will always understand, okay, what I'm talking about. Okay. So when we are trying to open any website, first of all, your DNS resolve, DNS lookup will start. So that you will be trying to contact your nearest DNS. So it will be giving you the whole, the IP if they are having. So if DNS is giving you the IP, now you have that IP. What is the second step that will happen here? What is the second step? Somebody is saying something, but not very audible.
Web traffic.
Web traffic, okay. Before the web traffic, what will happen? Let's say you are the server, okay, and I'm the client. I'm trying to open google.com and you are the server where Google pages are hosted. Okay.
Second one is TCP and UDP traffic.
Yes, exactly. So this is what TCP handshake.
Can you up this page? Actually, what you are typing is not able to see. Actually, we are not able to see.
All of you are not able to see this?
Last line, you just write it down, no?
Okay, let me just remove all this thing. I'll type on the top.
Okay.
Okay, let's understand this. So we are trying to understand, we are going to generate HTTPS. So www.google.com. Number one step is DNS. Number two, now you have IP. Let's say we don't know exactly the IP, but just for an example, let's say it's 8.8.8 only. By the way, this is the DNS of Google. Do not get confused again. So let's say your DNS server has returned you this A record. A record means this is the IP that they have given you. So now you do have the IP of the destination. Now the TCP handshake would start. Is it visible now, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So now TCP handshake will be starting right after your DNS is started. If this is my client and this is my server, let's say this is my Google server somewhere over the internet. So they are connected with each other somehow. Let's say we don't know, but they are connected with each other. What are the various minute points that you can see? You can notice in this very basic diagram. Where is this 8.8.8 will be configured? Where exactly? So I'm talking about this interface, right? So this is 8.8.8 that we want to connect with. At end of the day, this is an IP only. If this is my LAN card and then that IP is configured here, right? If this is my LAN connection. Similarly, it might be a LAN connection over the google.com's server. This LAN cable is going out of the data center, somehow getting connected with internet, and then you are the one. This is client and this is a server. So now we are talking about this LAN connection, that RJ45 connection that is configured with as IP as 8.8.8. So this is a public IP, let's say. Now TCP SYN is going to occur. Number one, you are going to have, first thing is TCP SYN is going to occur at whatever the DNS has given you the IP at. So this first packet is going to be your TCP SYN packet. And always a TCP SYN packet is not occurring at the random port number. So they will be basically specific to the layer 7 services. So what is the layer 7 service here? That is HTTPS. So what is the port number for HTTPS? 443. So this is what your step number 2 will be. TCP handshake is already started. Now, if the server is listening at port number 443, listening, what do I mean by listening? Port number 443, that means if your server, it is okay to respond you on SYN request that is occurring at port number 443. That is, it is knowing like, okay, somebody is trying to establish a connection with me for HTTPS request. That means there is an encrypted secure web pages that I have to send that guy back. So next, if it is listening on port number 443, that port is open. Now the server is going to reply you back with, so what is the connection here? What is the name? So the server is going to reply you with SYN
Acknowledge.
and acknowledge. Exactly. Okay. So server is saying you, yes, I have received. So this acknowledges belonging to this SYN. It is like I'm saying hello to Rama. Okay. So again, she's saying hi. So that hi was the reply to my first hello. So this SYN is a hi, first hi to client, from client to server. And this acknowledgement, it is the acknowledgement to his hi. But this SYN, it is now generating its own hi also. Okay, so that is, it is also interested to initiate the connection with you. So that means this was the first packet from client to server side. And this is saying, I have received your first packet. Now send me the second one. But this is my first packet. So you can say this is client's first packet. And it is a server side acknowledgement. I would say server acknowledgement to the client. And now this is the server side first packet. Right? So this packet, it is showing like S1 means whatever the packet will be generated from server. Acknowledgement means whatever it is receiving from the client. Now, what is the third packet that you can expect in the TCP handshake? What is the third packet in TCP handshake?
Acknowledgement. Acknowledge.
Session, establishment, right?
Yeah, sorry. Actually, session establishment will be done. First 3 messages should be completed. So the third message, somebody was saying very correctly, it is acknowledgement only. So that acknowledgement is being sent from your client to server side, and that is going to be your final acknowledgement. Okay. So in the final acknowledgement, will there be any sequence number? Do you know? So first packet, there will be a sequence number that was a C1. In second sequence number, this was a sequence number that basically server sent you. There is also a sequence number. What about acknowledgement number? There will be acknowledgement number. So it will be saying now, I would say it is not acknowledgement. I should directly say C2. So this is your C2. And also it is acknowledging your SYN also. So here it will ask for the S2 also. So these things, that is how it will work.
Can you please repeat the third point again?
So first packet from the client to server side, that is called a TCP SYN. It is trying to establish the connection for this service, that is port number on 443.
Okay.
So then server, if server is saying yes, I am supporting HTTPS service, so then it will be sending you back SYN plus ACK. So if you can see any SYN plus ACK back, that means server is happy for you to have the connection further. Right now, till date, it is not talking about google.com, what exactly you want. It is saying, I just want to have a connection with you. So further, once a server will be happy to have this we say this is called the three-way handshake signal. So whenever they will be finishing it, after receiving the final acknowledgement from the client, now they will enter both into one state. They are called, now the connection is established. Once the connection is established, now second thing will occur. What will happen after this? After you have the TCP handshake done, now it is HTTPS. We do have two similar, so we do have two similar services. One is your HTTP, another one is HTTPS. Why it is not getting typed here? It is working on port number 80. And then HTTPS, it is working on port number 443. So what is the difference between TCP handshake and about these two services?
This is the connectionless and connection. This TCP is the connection oriented, right? And UDP is the connection. In TCP session, we get the acknowledgement, but UDP session will not get the acknowledgement, right? I think your HTTP is the UDP connection and HTTPS is your TCP connection, right? Is this like? And this is the secure side and this is not secure side. HTTPS is secure side, right?
Encrypted form, HTTPS.
Basically, okay.
Actually, can you pull down his screen, right?
Okay,
Actually,
wait a minute. See, here we talk about both things. So here is HTTP and another one is HTTPS. Now visible?
Not now. Nothing is visible. And then blank screen is only, we are able to see only blank screen. Nothing is there.
Let me stop sharing and I'll share it again. Wait a minute. बेटा आप समझ नहीं रहे हो, OTP पेमेंट के मुझे ही आने हैं. Wait for some time. Let me share my screen. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, it is visible now.
Okay. So number one, basically both are using TCP's concept only. So UDP will not come here. Okay, so HTTP and HTTPS both, they are dependent on TCP. So these are the services of TCP. So UDP will only come into picture when DNS traffic is generated. TCP will handle both of them. So in this case, TCP handshake is done when you are going to have only HTTP, yes. In case of HTTPS, yes. After this TCP, what will occur? Next step will be your HTTP GET request will start, right? So because ultimately you are asking for the web pages from the server. These web pages, so they will be coming in the form of HTML pages to you. And who is handling that traffic? That is handled by your HTTP protocol. So here HTTP uses some request type. So that means client is requesting by GET method. Okay, so there are GET, PUT, delete. These all are the methods that HTTP use. So it will actually start using GET method so that it is asking, give me the home page for google.com. So this GET message will be received by your server side. But if you are using HTTPS service, here the next step after the TCP, it is going to happen with SSL handshake. Right? So After SSL handshake, now there will be an encrypted way, because both client and server, they will be saying, okay, fine, whatever the next information I'm going to share with you, that is not going to be totally in the clear text. That is now going to be encrypted. So here you're at this point, your HTTP GET is going to start. That is the place where HTTP GET request is by the method, it is going to be started here. So that is the difference between HTTP traffic and HTTPS traffic. If mathematically, if I have to define you, so port number 80, that is HTTP, that is only equal to TCP handshake first, and then it is occurring HTTP GET directly. But if I have to define port number 443, that is HTTPS, so that is going to be TCP plus after that SSL, and the third stage is HTTP traffic. Am I clear? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is the difference. So there are some services that TCP actually handles. There are some services that UDP handles. So now we were talking about something related to session. So now I was saying a firewall, a good firewall, you can categorize it if it is supporting more sessions also. So even a single TCP SYN packet, that is every session, depending upon the traffic, if it is any message from any kind of handshake, either it is from TCP handshake or it is from the SSL handshake, if any handshake message is coming, your firewall is also going to take one session for that. So every single packet that is traveling on the wire, even if it is a handshake only, that is going to create one session inside the firewall. So but the problem will be, you don't need to worry about like, okay, if this is going to consume one session IDs, then you will be running out of those all session IDs. So it is not going to work like this. So for example, when TCP SYN is occurring, your firewall has already started those timers. So it is saying when any handshake is coming, for example, if TCP SYN is coming, then only make this room for session for TCP SYN for maximum 15 seconds, or let's say sometime it is 5 seconds. So these are the timers that your firewall's operating system will be basically allotting automatically to them. So 15 seconds sometime for the UDP traffic, 5 seconds for SYN plus ACK, 10 seconds. So after those 15 seconds or 5 seconds time, they will be automatically getting wiped off from your session table. So same session ID will be allotted to somebody else. So that means even the firewall's capacity is 50,000. It will not be exhausted at once. So you should understand number of sessions more. That means a number that your firewall's capacity or the functionality is going to be very nice, good one. So if anyone is having doubt on session, so let me give you one example. Let's say I have one training room. In this training room, total I have, let's say, 9 chairs. Okay. So these are the 9 chairs are here. Okay. So I use this training room for 3 batches, one in the early morning, in the afternoon, and in the night. So this is the capacity for my trainees to sit. So that means there is all chairs. In my first batch, only these chairs are filled, right? So I have only 4 trainees in the early morning. Whereas in my afternoon session, all chairs are full. Okay, so this is everything is full. So when your firewalls at a time, it would depend upon the traffic one day. If at a time, at the same time I'm talking about now, so if your firewall is going to have 50,000 sessions, then definitely your firewall is going to run out of the session IDs. But you never know, sometime you have, let's say, only 40% sessions, sometime you have only 10%, 80%, and meanwhile the other sessions are coming previously are also going to wiped off from the session table also. So this session population, it is not going to be exhausted at once. So that is, it is never ending process sometime. But for firewall, for the environment or the organization that are, let's say, data centric or environments are there, where we have more than 15 to 20,000 servers are there. So in that case, 50,000 sessions, you can, this is nothing for them. So you need at least millions of sessions per second for that. So that is the capacity of the firewall, how you will actually understand these things. So every session, so how many types of parameters you have come to know? Number one is number of CPUs. Second one, number of, yes, what it was? Number of CPU. Another one was
Sessions.
number one, number two is sessions. Number three, that is rules. And yeah, and number four, that is your IPsec tunnel. Okay, so according to me, these are the most strongest features of any firewall. Yes, we do have others also, but these four are the strongest one. And to understand them first time, yes, it may take some time to observe these all things. But later on, once you understand the concept at very first point only, later on these things are nothing. So it's very easy to go with. So first thing, you should always understand what is a session and why every packet is not a session. What will happen? So let me ask you just a few questions, just for your motivation only, so that you can think about what about your journey will be like. Let's say this is my firewall, and I have some traffic from my LAN side, because I'm expecting this is my organization side firewall. So Ethernet 1/2 is here, Ethernet 1/1 is here, and then we have internet thing going on. And now let's say I have a traffic. So that is talking about FTP service, but on my firewall, I have no policy that is talking about FTP. So there is no policy. Okay. So what will happen? I'm going to ask all of you these questions. Number one, what will happen to the traffic when there is a matching? Okay. So there is, let's say, there is a matching policy. And what will happen if there is no matching policy? No matching policy. So
Discard the packet and drop the packet.
So in second case, yes, it will be keep on dropping the packet, because I don't know, firewall is like, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know you, right? So firewall will be simply taking the decision. Let's say in this policy, I have a matching policy, but this matching policy, what will happen to those packets? Allow packet, I understand, they will create one session. What about deny? What about deny? Will it create any session? And what about this one? Will it create any session?
I think no.
Italian and dropping both will be on.
Ma'am, I think no.
Session
So
will create and it's
Because
showing deny.
ma'am, because criteria is not met, so yeah, it can drop the packet. So no session is
yeah,
created.
yes, you can understand this in a concept. Let's say I am shortlisting few people, and I have a list of those people. So I'm taking, let's say, round number 2. So there are some 5 people on the list, and there are some people, they are coming one by one. Okay, so there is a long list of people who are coming. So this is there are people that are on the list, this one, this one, this one, this one, and maybe let's say this one. So these are the 5 people who are there in the list. When these will come, I will check, okay, I have this name here, so this name is here, so it's okay, I will mark a tick. So anything that action, I will be marking it ticks. So this guy never came. Okay, so I mean, this guy came, but it did not get selected, so that was rejected. Again, this guy came, this is selected. This guy came. Now we'll talk about this guy. This guy came. Now problem is I do not have the name on list for this. So I will say I don't know who you are. So this has to be returned back because I cannot take any decision. My decision is this, tick or cross. So now what about this one? Next guy, this is coming here. So this is also rejected. What about last one? This is also, let's say, rejected. But now I have the database for everything, right? Who is rejected and why is rejected. So this database, it is nothing but it is basically the session table of your firewall. So if anyone is matching the criteria, no matter the action was allowed or denied, it will for sure create a session ID because you can see the reason why it was allowed and why it was denied. So allow and deny, these are two actions. But here this is the totally different case. You don't have any idea what to do with this one. You don't know whether I have to allow or deny. So you can only have the session if you are taking the decision based upon the matching criteria. If you have a matching criteria, if you do have a matching policy, then only you will create a session. No matter whatever the action is, it is allowed or denied, there will for sure be an action, I mean session. But if there is no policy for this criteria, for this traffic, it has to be dropped, and that is why there is no session going to happen. Clear? So this is the main so this is just an overall idea. So these things will be much more clear to you when you will understand the packet flow. So first of all, according to me, once you will be officially starting the lab part, so maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whenever it will be possible, so you will first understand the topology. So to understand any packet flow, just step back once, it is like backtracking thing. You have to understand what exactly the wiring and the topology is looking like. And then it will be very easy for you to go for the flow and to understand the flow, where it is coming from, where it is going to. So these are the basic fundamental things. So any questions in this one?
Hello, ma'am.
No
I joined the class a little late, in fact, quite late. So I was stuck somewhere. Can you tell me if I can get a recorded session for this?
I think this is on YouTube right now. It is going live only. It will be there available for sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it will be available on
It
YouTube?
is live. This is live for today's session. I think it is live. Rest of them, it will be coming daily basis on the portal. Every session will be recorded. This is also recorded and it will also be posted on your portal.
So but today's class would be available on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So this is how your overall things will be coming together handy. Okay. Now that was the main reason why I was saying you have to learn all those things parallelly. Number one, what is happening on TCP IP side, and also we will start talking about VPN in the later stage. And here on the other side, part number 2 of your learning, that is called Palo Alto. So that is also, it will go on parallelly because now you have started technically how what is the parameter of firewall, what it would look like, what is MPDP, all these things. At least you have now came across those terminology. So everything again, I will say it will keep going back to these fundamentals thing. So make sure you are very, very good on your fundamentals, right? So now I want to tell you tomorrow, I will be taking a very small task. We will be discussing very small task that is related to IP addressing. Okay. So tomorrow's class, specifically, it is dedicated to IP addressing and subnetting. Okay. So because I want these things should be very clear to all of you. So I will have at least 20 to 30 minutes or maybe 1 hour tomorrow. So we will start from zero to advanced level of anything that is covered under IP addressing and subnetting. So if you think you do not know or you have to brush up your skills, make sure you will attend next session. So that is going to be from zero to advanced thing, everything about IP addressing. Okay, so that is all up to you.
Okay.
Hi Sharman.
Yeah.
सरवन, आपने अभी क्लास में दो कंसेप्ट पढ़ाया, डेटा वन मैनेजमेंट प्लेन एंड डेटा प्लेन. क्या आप कैन यू रिपीट दैट concept? And what's the major difference in both of that data plane and management plane? Just
Yeah,
over.
I was just saying our firewall is basically logically divided into two planes. You can imagine like this also, or you can imagine like that also. Okay, so there is a division. So how the firewall will be processing with any kind of traffic. So there is a division on the logical layer. So that means there is one operating system, because without operating system, no device would work. So this operating system is classifying everything in terms of either it is belonging to management plane or it is belonging to your data plane. Okay, so here the order is first preference will always be given to management plane. In fact, when your firewall is getting started, when it is into the booting process, so first your management plane is the one that will be getting booted first. If there is any problem, now this is a very vague statement, problem means I would say this Palo Alto firewall, its operating system is based upon Linux, right? So under Linux, we do have something called CentOS. Then CentOS, we do have PanOS. So PanOS is the operating system of your firewall. So now, because this is coming from the roots of Linux, we do have something called daemons. Okay, I did not wanted to talk about this here, but just giving you some hints. So in our firewall, everything is programmed in terms of daemon, and every daemon's job is to write down some long log files. So those, every daemon, it is like a different person you have employed, and every person is doing its own job. So we do have some daemons or person, they are belonging to only management plane. There are some daemons or the staff members, they are only working for data plane. When your firewall is under the booting process, if any staff member from the management plane, any daemon, it is not behaving properly, or it is not saying that okay, I am successful in the booting, so you will this booting process will be failed, and it will altogether make your management plane to be failed. So we normally call your firewall is crashed. So once your management plane it is not booting up properly, there is no way your data plane will fetch the details. So that means if this is failed, no way the control will come here. So your firewall is overall crashed. So once the booting is done by here, then next control will shift to data plane. We will talk about these all things, don't worry, in the configuration, in commit management, in the booting process and everything, don't worry. But yes, logically, management plane and data plane, this is the two division architecture.
Hello, ma'am. In simply way, we can say that management plane is same as a bias.
Yeah, it is much more than bias also, because whenever you will be buying, you will be licensing your firewall, or when you will be upgrading your operating system also, so everything will come here. But yes, you can correlate at the very first stage, you can say something related to bias and all. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So I think it is already 17 minutes are over now, no problem. What will happen tomorrow? Again, this is a kind request to all of you. In case you want to brush up these all things, so please tomorrow, or maybe whenever the next session is, do not miss this session, because it takes a lot of energy, to explain these things. And this is one of the trickiest topic in the history of computer networks. Do not miss this one. If you want, you please join it. Okay.
Okay. Ma'am, can we create a WhatsApp group for this session?
I believe there are some already official channels. You just talk to them, or maybe if you want, you can create your own group. No problem. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I see you tomorrow again, and a very very warm welcome. And I will try my best. Whatever the new things that I'm trying to have in this batch, I will be doing my best to achieve those all. And I'm very happy to have this audience because it is like growth, overall growth, or as a trainer for me also. So happy to have all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
See you all
thanks.
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.